Arsenal may face interest from Real Madrid and Myles Lewis-Skelly. I mean, every day a new player is linked with a move to our football club and actually to Real Madrid, who could aim to repeat their transfer strategy for Trent Alexander-Arnold to sign the young Gunner star. Let me guess, Myles Lewis-Skelly, has gone through the academy in a matter of months. He's been become an England international, one of the first names on the team sheet, and doing great things for our football club. I can't, I'm probably underselling it. I'm proud of Myles Lewis-Skelly, and I hope his shirt number 49 becomes iconic. Now, because of that reason and his talent and all of that kind of stuff, you could see why Real Madrid and a bunch of other clubs. Now, if I'm honest with you, I personally think Myles Lewis-Skelly will sign a new deal if he hasn't already. But don't let that get in the way of a good headline. We all know he's enjoyed a breakout year for Arsenal. We finished second, unfortunately, but for him, he made 23 senior appearances for the football club in the Premier League in his first senior campaign. Now, and he's just turned 18, and it makes you wonder, you shouldn't judge someone else's story, but what the hell was me and you doing at 18 years of age? Probably for another X-rated kind of platform, people. But it definitely wasn't being a footballer. Apparently, the journalist Jonathan Wilson on the Guardian's Football Weekly podcast said, Arsenal have got to sort out Myles Lewis-Skelly's contract situation, which expires next summer. And I think talks have not been going well from what I hear, and Real Madrid are sniffing around those. Now, again, he might know. He knows a lot more than me. I'm an armchair expert. But in negotiations, in any walk of life, whether that's getting a mortgage, a car, a house, anything, when is it ever smooth? And if negotiations are smooth, you've probably undersold yourself if you're in Myles Lewis-Skelly's position, or if you're in, if we use Arsenal in Arsenal's position, whatever the first offer, if Arsenal have accepted it, then potentially, I know people don't want to talk about it, but Myles Lewis-Skelly or anyone hasn't offered enough. We've got to remember, these clubs don't care about you. When it's your time to go. I'm not dissing Real Madrid or Luka Modric, but look at what he's accomplished for the club, and we've seen all the fallouts about he wanted to stay. Real Madrid said it is what it is. Now, it's not all Liverpool fans. I think Jurgen Klopp was quite right in his comments, and I think a lot of fans have calmed down. But look at what Trent Alexander-Arnold has done. The minute you want to try something new, bearing in mind you've come through that academy and that's all you've known your whole life, you saw how things changed. And I just feel not necessarily Arsenal or any of the teams I mentioned or anything. Football doesn't care about the footballers. It doesn't care about them. It doesn't. Fans care about players, obviously, but you're useful until you're useless. We don't know these individuals as people, or maybe some of you do. You like the fact that they play for your club and they're obviously good players. We all know, if I'm going a bit left with this, but you look at player welfare. We all know the clubs, the games that people play for club and country in the expanded fixture list. They don't care about you physically. They don't care about you mentally. Nobody cares about things that you're going through and all of that kind of stuff. They just care about what you're offering. So for me, I don't think football cares. And I think if anyone deserves the money, it's footballers, really. So I'm not saying this is the case with Myles Lewis-Skelly or anyone, but do what you want to do in terms of a sporting project. Get as much money as you can, and know your self-worth, people. So, yeah, man, it does give you food for thought. Imagine Real Madrid wanting a highly rated Premier League fullback for free, almost unimaginable, isn't it? It's true. And it's probably a bit of speculation and there's a lot of whispers. But for what it's worth, they know firsthand what Myles Lewis-Skelly can do because he played against them twice. We hear that contract negotiations are going on for Nwaneri and obviously Myles Lewis-Skelly. And where you look at the Sakas, the Salibas, the Gabriel Martinellis, we hope all of that stuff, works really. And we hope they all sign new deals, people. Speaking of not necessarily new deals, but new players, Arsenal apparently have offered Gyokeres a 5-year contract as they look to secure his signature, people. David Ornstein has said he expects either Gyokeres or Esko to sign for this football club. I have spoken on this before. Where Gyokeres' alleged asking price is concerned, people, smash the like button, by the way. Help the channel grow. We're moving closer to 70k. A lot of conflicting. Some go as low as 50 odd million. Some remain adamant that his release clause has to be met, and obviously ballpark figures. Some actually say Gyokeres will cost less than Esko, people. Ben Jacobs has said that Esko and Gyokeres are the two priority targets for the striker position. Leipzig, who are not going to be in the Champions League, apparently will let him go for 80 million euros, people. So yeah, that corresponds with what David Ornstein has said. They've got a decision to make between Benjamin Sesko and Viktor Gyökeres, both fantastic options and talents. I do expect one of them to come into the stadium, Emirates Stadium, apologies, this summer. And that's all we keep hearing, people. How funny would it be? And not really funny, but for all the talk about Gyokeres or Sesko, it might even end up just being somebody else. So on the topic of Sesko, apparently the Arsenal target has made his transfer declaration. Chelsea are apparently sniffing. Apparently he's claimed he wants to play for a club that can bring the best out of him. I mean, you look at what we've done with young players, and clearly Arsenal and Sesko on some communication or channel have been speaking for the best part of a year. Clearly Arsenal probably know all about him, because it seemed like if he gave the word and the green light and didn't want to stay at Leipzig, potentially we're not talking about the striker position this summer, because we would have signed him. But he said he wants to play for a club that can bring the best out of him as he weighs up a summer transfer. The 21-year-old Slovenian is subject to strong interest from the Premier League and is now waiting to see what offers materialize for his services in the coming weeks. Obviously, Leipzig have had a tough season. They finished 7th. They've not qualified for any sort of European competition. They're now plotting huge changes, both in their squad and strategy, to protect their financial records. Xavi Simons and obviously Sesko are being linked with moves away. I'm surprised Openda hasn't had any links. Apparently, Leipzig are now currently in Brazil, where they'll play an end-of-season friendly against Santos, and Sesko has addressed his future. The club has given me a lot and continues to give me a lot every day. It's a great club to develop at. And then he adds, play for a club that suits me, that brings out the best in me. That's the most important thing for me. He then said, I'm currently a player of Leipzig, so I'm taking it day by day. If a transfer happens, and if it doesn't happen, then it doesn't. Fair enough, quite blasé, and stuff might be going on in the background and he has to keep tight-lipped. For all the speculation, maybe with the transfer market, this is somewhat the calm before the storm. So there's literally nothing to talk about. Arsenal have been discussing whether to push ahead with a deal for long-standing target Sesko or Gyokeres. The 21-year-old has scored 21 goals and registered 6 assists in all comps. I think he got like 13, 14 in the Bundesliga. Don't quote me. Gyokeres won the double in Portugal, the League and Cup. He's got 54 goals in 52 appearances. Crazy. Sesko's release clause is understood to be upwards of 66 million, in brackets 80 million euros, while Gyokeres has a gentleman's agreement in place with Sporting, which could allow him to depart for a figure in the region of 55 to 60 million. Arsenal are considered front runners for the Swedes, should they wish to follow up their interest, but they face competition for Sesko, with Chelsea also keen. I mean, last season, did we not see Sesko's agents at Man United's games, at Chelsea games, at Arsenal games? Of course, the agent probably has other clients, maybe some on the books of all these clubs already, but there you have it in that regard. I personally think maybe, a year's a long time. Maybe the Arsenal from last year, they were adamant Sesko's the one. Obviously, they might have looked at Sesko and said, you're not the one. Gyökeres is it? I still think Arsenal are in agreement that they want Sesko. I think where the more aggressive nature behind the Gyökeres talks, at least where the paper's concerned, because in the real world of football, there might not be anything. I think it's better, because there's got to be a correlation, correct me if I'm wrong, people, around obviously the obvious we've got to do in terms of incomings and contracts, but it feels like we're a bit more aggressive with Gyokeres. Like even David Ornstein many months ago, as soon as Berta came in, we were keen on him. Could be PR, you never know, but there's that. Probably before Berta comes in, I think they let Partey go, probably because of his age. There's been a change in that. Trossard, 1 minute he's signed a new deal, 1 minute he's not. He probably would have been someone that would have maybe been let go in the summer. I think Berta's kind of putting his mark in those kind of things, if that makes sense. Apparently, for what it's worth, though, Arsenal completed the groundwork on a deal for Sesko last summer, but the young forward insisted on committing his future to Leipzig, signing a new long-term deal ahead of the European Championships in Germany. So yeah, it is what it is in that regard. Where Chelsea's concerned, we've been linked with Liam Delap. Apparently, he's available for 30 million. Surely he could get a Gyokeres or a Sesko and a Liam Delap. Frankfurt have been linked with. Sorry, I check Frankfurt's hitman Hugo Ekitike has been linked with everybody. Reports today at the time of making this vid, you're led to believe that Liverpool will win that race, people. So yeah, apparently we've offered a contract for Gyokeres until 2030. Hopefully he can win some silverware at our football club, man. We previously heard Andrea Berta has been talking with his counterpart at Leipzig over a deal for Sesko, and that Mikel Arteta and the club's hierarchy are big fans of Benjamin Sesko. Again, Gyokeres has played his last game. Romano has said he's available for 65 million euros. This is said 85 million pounds. So again, you're seeing it change. 80 GA in 57 goal games, though, man. Even if you just get 20, 30 odd, obviously you want 20 in the league, 30 odd in all comps. Personally, I'm a big fan of his. For what it's worth, Gyokeres has said it's impossible to say. We never know what happens in football. Arsenal links, I don't know anything. My focus is on the games. If the links were true, then we'll see this summer. So yeah, it's a bit of gamesmanship. We're still linked with Julian Alvarez. Allegedly, we're seriously interested in acquiring the services of Julian Alvarez, people. Obviously, any player that's been at Atletico Madrid, like Cunha, who seems to be going Man United, anything kind of with some little link to Atletico Madrid, it's easy to make a rumor around Berta. I mean, he got 29 goals in 54 games for Simeone's side. You know, you could say he was a bit unlucky. Real Madrid probably should have went out of the Champions League. Really, he missed the penalty with controversy. He's just walked into sunny Spain. Like, do you want to uproot your family back to England again? Obviously, the weather in London is probably a bit better than Manchester, away from the sporting projects. For me, I don't really buy that. You never know. I guess stranger things have happened, people. And as it says here, Berta is pushing Arsenal's interest on the player and putting him among the hierarchy in terms of priorities. I don't know how much he'd cost, but you'd imagine something significant because A, they just bought him. 2, they need a replacement. 3, there's probably a sell-on clause to some degree from Manchester City. And 4, you'd have to pay an inconvenience fee. And it's just said it here, people. He isn't keen on returning to the Premier League. According to the same report, he's comfortable in Madrid, which I think is true, and he's thriving at Atletico. So makes a good headline. Why not talk about it, people? I've kind of skimmed through this one, and apparently Arsenal should sign Rafael Leão instead of Rodrygo. I'd rather Rodrygo, even though I'm very pessimistic naturally on the rumours correlating to physical evidence that were going over these players, people. Apparently AC Milan value Leao at 84 million, and apparently Andrea Berta has spoken to his advisors, people, and is a big fan of his. So we'll have to see. There's a lot of whispers. As you can see here, apparently he's held talks with Rafael Leão. But it's not just Arsenal that's going to be in the fight for him. Chelsea, Bayern Munich, Manchester United have all shown concrete interest. No clue if Man United are involved, but it seems like Bayern Munich want a winger or someone that can play out there. People, they're actually linked with Liverpool's Cody Gakpo, so there must be something. Rodrygo apparently doesn't have any offers right now. The interest from Arsenal is real, but a potential move is a long way off. Stranger things have happened. We won't know anything probably until August if we do want that. And then there's the World Club Championship. Now, there's a lot of conflicting reports, but Arsenal target Garcia has rejected City rivals Barcelona in favour of a move to the Premier League. Last season, we know we weren't prepared to pay the 25 million euros. Apparently, that move left him devastated, as the director of Espanyol has said. 1 minute he's going Barca, then he's moving to England, then he wants to be the number one, then he welcomes the challenge. Who knows, people, if I'm completely concerned. You'd imagine, though, he's got ambitions to represent Spain at international level, and he's known as one of the better keepers in La Liga. Surely you have to be the first choice keeper somewhere else, and you do hear Barcelona on signing him and loaning him out. Unless you're going to disrupt Raya, are you going to play enough football to get into the World Cup squad for next season? I'm not too sure, people. Apparently Romano's colleague Matteo Morato has apparently said Garcia has now informed Barca he will not join them. Instead, he wants to move to the Premier League in what is undoubtedly a big boost to Arsenal, who are once again interested in the goalkeeper. Bayern, Leverkusen and Aston Villa have been linked. Now, it seems like Emi Martinez, who's been linked with us again, could depart his current employers. Obviously, on top of Villa having a good project, you've got Monchi over there who knows how the Spanish thing works, and you've got Unai Emery, and you'd probably be the number one. Man United, they might not be able to offer European football, but they want to get rid of Onana, and he's a better keeper than Onana. Chelsea have been linked with him. I reckon you can take Sanchez's spot. David Raya with Mikel Arteta, you don't know, and it won't be the same kind of remit around Aaron Ramsdale and David Raya, but it just feels, especially with Arteta's track record, you know, of keepers, something would have to give at a point. You know, he's not going to want to be the number two forever. We all know David Raya is linked with Real Madrid, at least for a year. I don't think anyone needs to worry about that. We've definitely gone over that. We have previously been linked with Kang In Lee, people, and apparently negotiations over a contract extension at PSG have stalled. Napoli, is alongside clubs in England, Spain and Saudi, are interested. So I wonder if that's an avenue we're exploring. I just spoke on this, but Real Madrid apparently, according to The Sun, are interested in David Raya, and Arsenal would consider a move for Emi Martinez. So that would be a return. Obviously, Martinez is a good keeper, but we all know about ball playing and all that kind of stuff. It doesn't make sense to me why we would go back and sign him, if I'm honest with you. So yeah, apparently the keeper, you know, where the keeper's concerned, he's not going Barca. Arsenal want Partey to stay at the club this summer, despite his contract coming to an end and their pursuit of Martin Zubimendi. We knew that already. I'm really involved in the Garcia stuff, innit? Vlahovic would be open to joining Arsenal this summer, but the Gunners are prioritizing other striker targets first. So if, God forbid, but if things go left for us in the market, then that might be an avenue to explore. One thing's for certain, I don't think Andrea Berta is going to sleep a wink at Arsenal, man. I don't know, but all my faith is in him.